Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing your economics exam preparation series. This is topic 5. We are discussing the theory of production. This topic appears in your exams every single year. In this lesson, you will learn the meaning of production, the difference between short run and long run, the law of diminishing returns, the 3 stages of production, fixed and variable factors, and how to answer exam questions. Let us begin. First, what is production? Production is the process of converting inputs into outputs. Inputs are the factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Outputs are the goods and services that are produced. Production is not only about making physical goods, it also includes providing services. A farmer producing maize is engaged in production. A teacher providing education is also engaged in production. The goal of production is to create utility. Utility is the satisfaction or usefulness that consumers get from goods and services. There are 3 types of production. Primary production is the extraction of raw materials from nature. This includes farming, fishing, mining, and logging. Secondary production is the manufacturing of goods from raw materials. This includes building cars, weaving cloth, and processing food. Tertiary production is the provision of services. This includes banking, education, healthcare, and transportation. All 3 types are important for an economy. Now let me explain the difference between short run and long run. The short run is a period of time in which at least one factor of production is fixed. Typically, capital is fixed in the short run. A firm cannot build a new factory or buy new machines quickly, but it can hire more workers or buy more raw materials. So labor is variable in the short run. The long run is a period of time in which all factors of production are variable. The firm can change everything. It can build a new factory. It can buy new machines. It can hire more workers. It can even exit the industry or enter a new one. There is no fixed time period for the short run and long run. It depends on the industry. For a small street vendor, the long run might be just a few weeks. For a large car manufacturer, the long run might be several years. Why does this distinction matter? Because firms face different constraints in the short run and long run. In the short run, the firm has fixed capacity. It cannot expand its factory. So, if demand increases, it can only increase output by hiring more workers and using the existing factory more intensively. This leads to diminishing returns. In the long run, the firm can expand its factory. It can add more machines. It can increase output without facing diminishing returns. Now, let me explain the law of diminishing returns. This law applies only in the short run. It states that as more and more units of a variable factor are added to a fixed factor, the additional output from each additional unit of the variable factor will eventually decrease. In other words, after a certain point, each extra worker you hire produces less extra output than the worker before. Let me give you an example. Imagine a small bakery with one oven. The oven is the fixed factor. The workers are the variable factor. When the bakery hires its first worker, that worker produces 50 loaves of bread per day. When it hires a second worker, the 2 workers together produce 110 loaves. The second worker added 60 loaves. This is increasing returns. When it hires a third worker, the 3 workers together produce 180 loaves. The third worker added 70 loaves. Still increasing. When it hires a fourth worker, the 4 workers together produce 240 loaves. The fourth worker added 60 loaves. Diminishing returns have started. The fourth worker added less than the third worker. When it hires a fifth worker, the 5 workers together produce 290 loaves. The fifth worker added 50 loaves. Diminishing returns continue. When it hires a sixth worker, the 6 workers together produce 330 loaves. The sixth worker added 40 loaves. When it hires a 7th worker, the 7 workers together produce 360 loaves. The 7th worker added 30 loaves. When it hires an 8th worker, the 8 workers together produce 380 loaves. The 8th worker added 20 loaves. Eventually, if the bakery hires too many workers, they will get in each other's way. Total output might even fall. Why does diminishing returns happen? Because the fixed factor becomes overcrowded. The oven can only bake so many loaves at once. Workers have to wait for the oven. They cannot work efficiently. The fixed factor is the bottleneck. The law of diminishing returns is a universal truth. It applies to every production process in the short run. Now let me explain the 3 stages of production. The stages of production come from the law of diminishing returns. Stage 1 is the stage of increasing returns. In this stage, each additional worker adds more output than the previous worker. Marginal product is increasing. This happens because of specialization and division of labor. When you add the first few workers, they can divide tasks. One person mixes the dough. One person shapes the loaves. One person tends the oven. They become more efficient. Stage 1 ends when marginal product reaches its maximum. Stage 2 is the stage of diminishing returns. In this stage, each additional worker adds less output than the previous worker, but total output is still increasing. Marginal product is positive but decreasing. This is the stage of rational production. No firm will stop in stage 1 because it can still increase output by adding workers. No firm will go to stage 3 because total output starts falling. So every firm produces in stage 2. Stage 2 ends when marginal product becomes 0. Stage 3 is the stage of negative returns. In this stage, each additional worker actually reduces total output. Workers get in each other's way. They waste time. They may even damage equipment. Marginal product is negative. No rational firm would ever produce in stage 3. If a firm finds itself in stage 3, it will fire workers until it returns to stage 2. Let me define some important terms. Total product is the total output produced by a firm. Average product is total product divided by the number of workers. It measures the output per worker. Marginal product is the additional output produced by adding one more worker. It is the change in total product divided by the change in the number of workers. Let me give you a numerical example. 0 workers, total product 0, average product 0, marginal product 0. 1 worker, total product 10, average product 10, marginal product 10. 2 workers, total product 25, average product 12.5, marginal product 15. 3 workers, total product 45, average product 15, marginal product 20. 4 workers, total product 60, average product 15, marginal product 15. 5 workers, total product 70, average product 14, marginal product 10. 6 workers, total product 75, average product 12.5, marginal product 5. 7 workers, total product 78, average product 11.1, marginal product 3. 8 workers, total product 80, average product 10, marginal product 2. 9 workers, total product 80, average product 8.9, marginal product 0. 10 workers, total product 78, average product 7.8, marginal product -2. Notice the pattern. Marginal product rises at first, reaches a maximum, then falls. It becomes 0 at 9 workers. It becomes negative at 10 workers. Average product rises, reaches a maximum, then falls. The maximum of average product occurs where marginal product equals average product. This is a very important relationship. When marginal product is above average product is rising. When marginal product is below average product is falling. When marginal product equals average product is at its maximum. Now let me explain the concept of diminishing returns in real life. A farmer with 1 hectare of land can only add so much fertilizer. At first, each bag of fertilizer adds a lot of extra corn. But after a certain point, each additional bag adds less extra corn. Eventually, too much fertilizer will kill the corn. This is diminishing returns. A factory with a fixed number of machines can only add so many workers. At first, each new worker adds a lot of extra output. But after a certain point, workers get in each other's way. Output per worker falls. This is diminishing returns. A restaurant with a fixed kitchen size can only add so many cooks. At first, more cooks help, but eventually, they bump into each other. The kitchen becomes crowded. This is diminishing returns. Now, let me explain the difference between the short run and long run in more detail. In the short run, the firm has fixed costs and variable costs. Fixed costs do not change with output. They include rent, insurance, and salaries of permanent staff. Even if the firm produces nothing, fixed costs must still be paid. Variable costs change with output. They include raw materials, wages of temporary workers, and electricity. If the firm produces nothing, variable costs are zero. Total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. In the long run, all costs are variable. The firm can choose any size of factory. It can choose any amount of capital. It can enter or exit the industry. The long run is the planning horizon. The firm decides what size to be in the long run. Then, in the short run, it operates with that fixed size. The long-run average cost curve shows the lowest possible cost of producing each level of output when the firm can choose any size of factory. The long-run average cost curve is U-shaped. It slopes downward at first due to economies of scale. Then it flattens out. Then it slopes upward due to diseconomies of scale. Economies of scale are the advantages of large-scale production. They include specialization, bulk buying, financial advantages, and use of large machines. Diseconomies of scale are the disadvantages of very large-scale production. They include management problems, communication difficulties, and worker alienation. A common exam question asks you to explain the law of diminishing returns. Here is a sample answer. The law of diminishing returns states that as more and more units of a variable factor are added to a fixed factor, the additional output from each additional unit of the variable factor will eventually decrease. This happens because the fixed factor becomes overcrowded. The law applies only in the short run when at least one factor is fixed. For example, adding more workers to a small bakery with one oven will eventually lead to diminishing returns. Each new worker adds less extra bread than the worker before. Another exam question asks you to distinguish between the short run and the long run. Here is your answer. The short run is a period of time in which at least one factor of production is fixed. Typically, capital is fixed in the short run. The firm cannot change its factory size or number of machines. The long run is a period of time in which all factors of production are variable. The firm can change everything. The distinction is important because diminishing returns occur only in the short run. In the long run, the firm can avoid diminishing returns by expanding its fixed factors. Another exam question asks you to explain the 3 stages of production. Here is your answer. Stage 1 is the stage of increasing returns. Marginal product is increasing. Stage 2 is the stage of diminishing returns. Marginal product is positive but decreasing. Stage 3 is the stage of negative returns. Marginal product is negative. Rational firms produce in Stage 2. They will not stop in Stage 1 because they can still increase output by adding workers. They will not enter Stage 3 because total output would fall. Another exam question asks you to calculate marginal product and average product from a table. Here is your answer. Marginal product is the change in total product divided by the change in the number of workers. Average product is total product divided by the number of workers. For example, if total product with 2 workers is 25 units and with 3 workers is 45 units, the marginal product of the 3rd worker is 20 units. The average product of 3 workers is 15 units. Let me summarize what you have learned. Production is converting inputs into outputs. The short run has at least one fixed factor. The long run has all factors variable. The law of diminishing returns applies only in the short run. It says that adding more of a variable factor to a fixed factor will eventually yield smaller additional outputs. The three stages of production are increasing returns, diminishing returns, and negative returns. Rational firms produce in stage 2. Marginal product is the extra output from one more worker. Average product is output per worker. When marginal product is above average product rises. When marginal product is below average product falls. When they are equal, average product is at its maximum. That is all for topic 5. Practice drawing the total product, average product, and marginal product curves. Practice calculating marginal and average product. Practice explaining the stages of production. See you in topic 6.